We begin with news on the possible deal between ride-hailing firms Grab and Gojek. The Competition and Consumer Commission of Singapore is aware of news relating to both firms and pointed out that competition rules forbid such unions if they result in diminished competition.
Well, in its statement, the competition watchdog said it has written to the parties for more information. It added, quote, under Singapore's competition law, Section 54 of the Competition Act prohibits mergers that have resulted or may be expected to result in a substantial lessening of competition.
Meanwhile, Reuters reported yesterday that Grab's CEO Anthony Tan told staff in an internal note that the firm was in a position to make acquisitions, but he didn't give any specifics about a potential deal. Both Grab and Gojek declined to comment.
And according to an earlier Bloomberg report, under one proposal being discussed that has substantial support, Mr. Tan would become the CEO of the combined entity, while Gojek executives would run the new combined business in Indonesia under the Gojek brand.
Let's hear more from the Straits Times' senior transport correspondent, Christopher Tan. Hi, Chris. Chris, CCCS is looking into this. How is this similar or different to Grab's deal with Uber back in 2018?
I think when it came to Uber and Grab, the situation was a bit different because the two were of almost equal size. So if the two merged, and they did after all, it would result in some kind of dilution of competition. And it did. If you remember, after they merged, Grab quickly removed some of the incentives to drivers. There was a lot of hue and cry, and eventually they brought some of it back. They reverted to some of the previous rates. But yeah, now the difference is that Gojek seems to be a much smaller player than Grab in Singapore. In other countries where both of them operate, let's say in Indonesia, for instance, the home country of Gojek, it is Gojek that holds the upper hand. Gojek has a much bigger presence. Its app is used a lot more frequently by people over there than Grab, and we also hear accounts that Grab actually has been buying market share by lowering its rates. And in the other markets like Malaysia and Vietnam and all that, it is again Grab that has the biggest share. So I think if we come to a merger between these two, I think there will not be as much of a competition dilution as we saw with Grab and Uber.
Right. Well, in the case with Uber, Grab was fined $13 million by the CCCS for infringing competition laws. So why is Grab pursuing another merger or acquisition or whatever this is when it can again possibly result in another hefty fine?
Well, I can possibly come up with two reasons. One is that the fine, it's going to be worked into the math of the union anyway, cost of business, if you like. Two, they are confident that they can make a case to what I've just mentioned, that the two are actually of not equal sizes, and that a union, a merger or acquisition would not result in any meaningful dilution of competition.
So Chris, if the union were to go through, what is the impact for commuters and ride-hailing drivers as well?
I think there would be probably some kind of change in rates. As with all mergers, even in mergers between big and small companies, there is going to be some change. If it's going to be the same as usual, then there's no reason for a merger. But I do not think that the impact will be as huge as the one that we saw when Uber and Grab got together.
Right. Well, it's always good to hear from you, Christopher. We've been speaking to senior transport correspondent at the Straits Times, Christopher Tan. Look out for his analysis on this developing story in tomorrow's paper or at straitstimes.com.